on! You son of a bitch!
There's something out there waiting for us. And it ain't no man.
Get to the chopper!
Welcome to Market Makers, everyone. Your home for tomorrow's TA today. I hope you had a fantastic weekend, because this week with the CPI tomorrow, buckle up, boys and girls. This is your girlfriend's, boyfriend's favorite crypto channel, because we're going to have a wild ride potentially this week. We had Bitcoin make our July top, right? Something I've been predicting all year long. July top in the markets, July top in Bitcoin. We made it on the very last day of July. Then we just got a little baby drop of 10%, and now we rallied back up to test the all-time high. So what we need to cover in this video is your key levels of support, resistance, what I think is going to happen. Look at some of the altcoins here on this. My markets video will be out after this video, because tomorrow is going to be a huge catalyst. If you told me, Brendan, the CPI is going to come in cooler, what do you think Bitcoin does? It's going to rally. You can easily take out your all-time high and then make my target of 132. We fell 9,000 points short of 132. If the CPI is cooler, that's just a stone's throw away from hitting that target, right? CPI comes in hotter than expected. What's the market going to do? It's going to sell off. Why? Why would it sell off? Because remember, the market wants Powell to cut in September. If the CPI comes in hotter than expected, then it can easily sell off. The trick is, the market and the street are expecting the CPI to come in warmer than the last print. Is that enough to trigger a sell-off? So we want to look at our support levels, our resistance levels. There's a lot to cover in this video. Real quick, guys, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. You want to join us on our Discord, go to our website, marketmakers.trade. You can join our Discord through there. If you want my members-only videos through YouTube, you can look at those. You can join right through YouTube, get all my education, get our staff videos, my videos, all right there on YouTube with the join button on YouTube. I think we put up like 5 new videos last week as well as all my education videos that are on a playlist there, so you can check that out. Now, let's talk about what's on my screen. Again, we go over this every video, but just an update, right? So on my screen is the 4-year Bitcoin topping cycle and the bottoming cycle. And I know people say, oh, your TA is so different than everybody else. I mean, actually, when you zoom out in the big picture perspective, and people say, what do you think Bitcoin's going to do? I just think Bitcoin's going to do what it has done every single cycle now since 2013, guys. Remember, it's only existed basically since 2008. Every single cycle, it has topped in a 4-year period. 2013, you topped in November. 4 years later, you topped in December 2017. 4 years later, you topped in November 2021. What do I think is going to happen for the Bitcoin top? It's going to top in November 2025. That level, this is the debate part, that level is, I have that target at 168, right? Could it go to 175? Sure. Could it go to 200? Sure. Could it fall just short? Maybe top at 150. That's the trading portion of TA. What I'm doing is using mathematical ratios, geometric ratios vis-a-vis Fibonacci, looking at expansion and contraction in the market. What I'm confident in is the cycle that has played out since 2013 will play out once again, right? So in the near term, I'm looking for Bitcoin as a catalyst tomorrow to either rally up to that 132, take out the all-time high, or start its summer top retracement, right? We're going to go over those levels here in the video today, but this cycle, I think, is going to stay intact. And that's the big thing that people do is, no, this time's different. You don't understand money printing, this, that, the other thing. I just think it's going to play out the same way it always has. Something else to keep in mind, because people are going to ask me, I'll do a separate video on my expectations for 2026, but if you go on YouTube, everybody's giving you cataclysmic expectations. People talking about, well, the markets can go down 80, 90%, the biggest bubble of all time, 80, 90%. Sure, that's a possibility. What's another possibility? The other possibility is the markets do their normal recessionary retracement, which is 33% through 12 recessions since World War II. What would that mean for Bitcoin? Well, quite simply for Bitcoin, I think it's going to do the same exact thing it's done every single cycle top, which is what? Sell off 75, 80%. Every single cycle top, it does the same thing. So if you want to look at expectations of what Bitcoin can do, this is simple. we can just pull this down. Let's just say, and again, we don't know if Bitcoin's going to get to 168, but that's my expectation. Let's say we get to 168 by November 2025. Well, where's it going down to? If you pull a retracement down, 75% takes you to 40K. If you come down to 80%, takes you to 33K, right? 33K. What does that do from a support level perspective? Support level perspective puts you right back on top of that cluster of candles, or right at the base of your 2021 top, first top, and then sell off. So looks like good support structure, and it's something Bitcoin has done every single top in the 4-year cycle. That's my expectation for Bitcoin. The key takeaway is if you're at 33K, right? Let me just draw that again. If you're at 33K here after an 80% retracement, what does that mean from a technical perspective? Well, just start back here in 2018. 2018, you started at roughly 3K. So there's your low. You had the 2022 sell off. You went to 15.5. There's your higher low. If you come down to 33K after a massive blow off top, that is yet again another higher low. Again, strong uptrend all the way through with a series of higher lows, and then you would be basing and then going back up again, okay? I'll cover all this in a future video focused on my 2026 predictions, but people keep asking me what's going to happen after a blow off top. My answer is the same exact thing that's happened every single cycle. 75%, 80% retracement in Bitcoin. Let's look at something else that I want you guys to consider. How much symmetry is in this chart, right? How much symmetry? We know the 4-year topping cycle is played out every single time. November 2013, December 2017, November 2021. Again, looking for November 2025 for that top. What about the bottoming cycle? Roughly a year later, you bottomed in 2015. Almost exactly a year later, you bottomed in December 2018. What about after the 2021 top in November? You bottomed in November 2022. So when would the bottom be? I'm just guessing here, but November 2026. Top in November 25, bottom in November 26. There's your Bitcoin cycle. Been the exact same way since 2013. Could it be different this time? Sure. Is that my base case? No, my base case is it will do exactly as it has done every single time. But let's talk about the retracement levels now. Let's get into this. All right, if we look at total, guys, total crypto cap, again, we tried to spike above 4 trillion, got rejected right at the 1618. Once again, I think this will pull down when the market does a summer retracement. Again, I don't expect a deep retracement, and then you're going to be coming up for the blow off top, probably at that 4.72 trillion. You look at Bitcoin dominance. Why are some of the altcoins really flying, like Ethereum? Other altcoins, they're still moving up, but they're kind of flat. Bitcoin dominance, you got more than a 9% drop. You hit the 1618, 9% drop. You bottom on the bottom of the channel, and then you broke through the bottom. I think if we look at this on my DVD indicator, my volume here, yeah, you got a higher low here in the volume. So again, this should start coming back up to the upside. But in the meantime, you got some alts running. If we look at Bitcoin on a 3-day chart, there's my 132 target. That was my predicted target for the summer top. And we got to 123 and change. Again, made this prediction back in the first part of 2025. Pretty close, but right now you just have a massive double top. We'll look at this zoomed in as well. But you have a double top beneath the all-time high, right? CPI comes in cooler. I think you're getting a 132. CPI comes in hot, or the market doesn't like what the CPI is because they're worried about the Fed not cutting in September, I think you're going to start breaking down. And we're going to look at those retracement levels as to where you can get to. If we look at our cycle change, we had the cycle change on Saturday, right? There's our lunar cycle change on Saturday. We got the pump up on Sunday. We failed beneath the all-time high, but overall, you're still in the same trading range, right? Minus this false break to the downside. So let's zoom in on this, look at this on our 8-hour chart, and look at our expectations. What's my expectations for the summer drop? Regardless of whether or not we rally and break the all-time high. Look, if the CPI comes in cooler, you're going to see Bitcoin shoot up towards 132, okay? That's if the CPI comes in cooler. I really believe that. You're only 8,000, 9,000 points away off that high there from getting there. So I think you'll get there if the CPI is cooler. If the CPI is not cooler, what is Bitcoin going to do? Well, I think Bitcoin's going to do a double top, right? This is an M fractal pattern. teach this in my education course, but let me show you this with a 5-wave tool here. So you can see this. You have your neckline right there at 112. Right now, this is your rebound high. Where would this come to? Well, simple Fibonacci projections tell you 105, 100K. Beneath that, you have 93 to 98K. At 100K, this is only an 18% retracement. That is a shallow drop. I fully recognize it's 22, almost 23,000 points, but an 18.5% retracement is nothing. If this comes down to that 98K level, you're looking at a deeper retracement here. Let's just see what 23%, something like that would be. 23% would take you right about, what is that price level right there? About 90, I can't see it with my picture. Right about there is 97K is 21%. So probably about 95K. Can't see it with my picture there. But consider what we did the last 2 years in a row, right? So again, 18%, 18.5% retracement down to 100K, slightly more, 20% down to 95, 98K. Look what you did last year. Last year, you fell 30% after the July top, right? You topped in July, you fell 30% in 7 days. Literally 7 days. Actually, that was a July 29th top, so that was late in July as well. What about 2023? 2023, you fell 23%, almost 24%. You topped in mid-July, okay? So we're right on time with the topping action. Question is, what's the catalyst with the CPI? And are we going to get a 20% drop or a 30% drop? My base case is to come down to 100K, and you could come down to 93, 98K. You do have all this candle support structure over to your left here. And then, guys, guess what? We're going to bottom, right? We're going to find a bottom, and we're going to be launching up to go to the blow off top in November 2025. If we look at Bitcoin here, let's look at MSTR here on this chart, Bitcoin proxy. 410 is the 1618. So that's where we're at right now, guys. You're below your all-time high. You're at 410. You're still in this channel right here. You have this channel, right? You try to break out, came back into the channel. Look, if Bitcoin goes up to 132, you're going to see the MSTR strategy or whatever they're calling themselves now go up with it. But right now you're just kind of hovering in this channel. You're right at resistance. And if we sell off, you're going to see that drop. Watch your support structure down there at 370, 350. That's your support structure on MSTR. And it's all going to depend on what Bitcoin does for a top or a drop. You look at Ethereum. We hit the kill box. We got some nice retracements. We got up to 39.50. We came all the way down to 33.55. And Ethereum then broke out, right? Bitcoin dominance dropping almost up to the 200% target at 43.71. We were in this box here since July 2021. And then we just exited Saturday, right? So we're in here a nice amount of time. We exited Saturday right up to the 200% level. Your all-time high is 48.65. For Ethereum to have more upside, you need to watch the CPI to see what happens, because lower CPI is going to be bullish for the markets and cryptos. Hot CPI, Ethereum's coming back down. That summer retracement level, guys, I'm still looking at 3,000, right? If I'm still looking at 3,000 on Ethereum for that summer retracement based on all these candles. This is a daily chart going all the way back to February 2024, where they all found support. That drop for Ethereum, if this played out and Bitcoin does start topping and dropping, because I definitely want to be in a short if it does, but that's a 30% drop. Makes sense, right? Bitcoin drops 20%. Going to see Ethereum drop at a beta to it. I expect that drop. And that's nothing to be bearish about. It's still a series of higher lows. You're still breaking out. And of course, this could be shallower, but that's just a base case, right? Right now, we're looking to see if we break out above 43.71 to take out the all-time high, or if we're topping, pulling back, and then launching back up again. Looking at Solana. Solana overall is in an uptrend, right? We traded it long down here, got out, had a 100% rally in Solana, pulled back, came back up, pulled back again. Overall, what do you have? You have higher lows, you have higher highs, right? But now Solana is kind of at a midpoint, a turning point. To really get any more progress, you need to get above $204, basically 205. So Solana is holding support at 175. You're at 180 right now. If you get a retracement in Solana, look at the structure you just made right here. If that happens, It's made a double top, right? So 156 is kind of a neckline, and then price would break down lower. Then you want to look at your support structures down here, your 125 levels, but you want to see what happens. Again, I don't want to keep repeating it, but I think it's really important to understand that because so many people come to the market, especially if they're new and they're trading, they have no idea about any of the economic numbers. They don't know why price moves around based on news. A lot of it in this market, in this cycle, with 40-year high inflation, still stubborn, sticky inflation, with the freak out about tariffs, with the freak out about the new president, all these different things play a role. And if you don't understand what's happening in the macro, right, I think you have a harder time in the micro. And tomorrow is a big piece of news, that inflation data. So watch this. You want to see Solana, new skies, or take out 205 to come up and challenge some of these levels? Got to get above 205, and you want to hold support at 156. And right now you're at 180. So you're just the base level of the 382 right here. If we look at this on SUI, bounced right off the heart line, came below it, made our little W fractal, right? Got our little W fractal, and where'd you rally to? Right at the 618, almost $4. And now you're selling back off. You're at 376. So where would you fall here? Well, the key thing, again, is two types of patterns. And a lot of these alts, you can see this, right? You have the W that could form, get a pullback, maybe to the heart line like at 350, hold that level, come back up again. That could be the retracement. Or you quite simply are just putting in a macro double top pattern right at the 618. And if this breaks down, you really want to watch that level down here, right about 325. Watch that level, because if 325 breaks, then you want to look at the support structure down here, right? You have the support structure down here, about 275 in this range. And again, if we get some breakdown, we'll cover these levels. But that would be the next support structure level if this was to break down in that fashion, all depending on that external catalyst. Look at XRP, came right up to $3.69, right at the 200%. And then you hit it and you sold off, right? I mean, all these patterns look very similar. You hit it, you sold off. Where'd you rally back up to? The 1618, what did you just make? Potentially a double top, right? If you don't reverse this and come back up, you just made a double top to potentially roll down from. So just like on Solana, just like on SUI, you have to watch these neckline fractals right at 272, because if you take out 272, you can have XRP down here in the $2.25 range if this was to break down in a retracement, okay? To get more blue skies up here in this rally, you got to take out 369. Your next level would be 435, and right now you're in between. You're at $3.21. So, want to see which way this breaks. You look at Doge, we rallied right up to the fractal high. Look at that. Nice W pattern, just like you saw in some of these other ones. Rallied right up to the fractal high at almost 25 cents. If Doge gets weaker, you want to watch this move because you got to sell off, right? If it comes back up, does something like this, watch these support levels. 21 cents right here at the 0.5 and 618. And you really want to hold this 20-cent level. If you get below 20 cents, you have different candle structures down here for support, different candle structures that could give you that, as well as Fibonacci. If you just look at it from this perspective, if you get below this level here, well, that's 18 cents. If we get below this level on this big leg, let's pull this up here. Get some fibs on here. Need our 382, 5. Get the 618. 618 is right there at 19. 786 is 17 cents. These would be a deeper Doge target. So you want to watch that, right? This is important to watch because ultimately you can get reversal patterns just like this, right? And get a nice W that forms. See that? Showed you that on a couple patterns now. Or it's going to form a double top. And a double top can break down, come up, come back down, and then watch these levels because 17 cents down here, you got a lot of support down here at that level if you get a summer drop to go with Bitcoin and everything else. If everything launches, then take out 25 cents, push your way to 28 cents. All right, guys, that's the crypto video. My market video is out next. Check out Bitunix if you want to trade these markets. It helps support the channel. Be a Market Makers VIP. Use our link. Talk to you guys in the next video.